While reaching for extra chairs in the garage, I heard my wife laugh from the kitchen, and then I heard my name. She was on speakerphone telling her brother that once dinner was over, she'd be filing for divorce and taking half my company. Her brother called me pathetic, said I was too soft to see it coming. She didn't deny it. She said it was already in motion and that I'd never recover. 10 minutes earlier, I was brushing flour off my shirt and basting the turkey to impress her family. 10 minutes later, I stood in the shadows, listening to the people I cooked for plan to gut my life from the inside. If you've ever wondered how betrayal sounds when it's whispered behind your back, this is what it sounds like, and I caught every word. My name's Ethan. I'm 34, and I built a construction company from scratch, just me. An old truck that coughed like it had asthma and a head full of stubborn dreams. I met Sophia when she was still in law school, waiting tables at night, exhausted but brilliant. I fell for her fast. When we got serious, I stepped up. I covered her rent, paid her tuition when her scholarships fell short, packed her lunches, and picked up extra jobs to keep us afloat while she studied. I told myself we were building a life together, me laying the foundation, her working toward something bigger. 7 years later, we were married, living in a nice house with a garden out back and her law degree framed in the hallway. From the outside, we looked solid, but inside some things had started to shift. Sophia's family never liked me much. Her dad, Richard, always had that tight smile, the kind that barely hides judgment. He made millions in finance and never once asked about my business without calling it a little gig. Her mom, Diane, a sharp-dressed real estate queen, once asked if I had thought about night classes. Her brother Nathan, fresh out of business school, acted like he ran Wall Street when he still lived off their credit card. They all made jokes that didn't feel like jokes. It was constant little digs, smirks, quick glances exchanged when I talked. But Sophia always defended me, or at least I thought she did. She said I was overthinking it, that they were just old school. I wanted to believe her, needed to. Last Saturday, we were hosting their annual spring dinner, some family tradition her mom insisted on. This time it was at our house. Sophia wanted everything perfect. She picked the flowers, the wine, even made me repaint the front steps. I didn't mind. I woke up at dawn, prepped the yard, power washed the deck, trimmed the hedges, and tended to the brisket I'd been aging and seasoning for a week. I took pride in making it nice, not just for show, but for her. She deserved a home she could be proud of. But that morning something was off. Sophia was tense. She snapped over little things, the candles not matching, the wine not chilled fast enough, me wearing the wrong shirt. I chalked it up to stress. Hosting her family always turned her into a perfectionist, but there was something different this time, a kind of distance I couldn't name yet. I told myself not to overthink it. Not today. Not when everything needed to be just right. Around 6 p.m., the house smelled like smoked brisket, rosemary potatoes, and that citrus candle Sophia always lit when guests came over. We were setting the table together, arranging the fancy china we got as wedding gifts, plates we barely used but saved for nights like this. Her mom was fussing over the centerpiece, Nathan was already on his second glass of wine, and I was adjusting folded napkins to sit just right when I realized we were short 2 chairs. I slipped out the back door to grab them from the garage, thinking about the wine I'd decant after, the toast I planned to give to make everyone feel welcome. That's when I heard voices by the azalea bushes. At first I figured it was the neighbors or maybe her parents chatting on the patio, but then I heard Sophia laugh. It stopped me in my tracks not because of the laugh itself, but because she was smoking. Sophia hadn't touched a cigarette in years. I peeked around the hedge and saw her and Nathan, backlit by the setting sun, passing a cigarette like it was college again. I was about to call out when I heard Nathan say my name. "I still can't believe you actually married this loser," he said, shaking his head, voice half amused, half disgusted. "Dad said it from the start, he's a dead end. You need to dump him before kids ruin your chance to get out clean." I froze. My stomach dropped. I waited, praying Sophia would shut him down, defend me. But she didn't. She took another drag, blew out the smoke, and said, "Relax, I've got it covered. My lawyer says we can take half the business, maybe more if we play it right. Then they laughed. Not just a soft chuckle, but a full, easy laugh, like they were making brunch plans. And just when I thought I'd heard the worst, Nathan leaned in and said, "Lucas is still into you, you know. Now that guy makes sense." Sophia smirked and said, "He's a much better fit. I should have gone with him from the start." I stood there, hidden by the garage wall, still gripping the doorknob. My hands were sweating. My face was burning. My entire body felt like it didn't belong to me. In a matter of seconds, everything I thought I knew about my life snapped in half. 7 years. 7 years of love, support, sacrifice. Nights I stayed up editing her papers after working 12-hour shifts. Weekends spent fixing up this house instead of taking vacations. Every hard-earned dollar I poured into her career, all of it suddenly felt like a joke that everyone knew but me. But somehow, I moved. I walked into the garage, grabbed the folding chairs with mechanical focus, and came back inside. I didn't scream. I didn't storm out. I smiled. I smiled like nothing happened. I cracked a dumb joke about needing more seating and helped her mom open another bottle of wine. I set the chairs down, kissed Sophia on the cheek, like I didn't just hear her plotting to gut my life and toss it aside, and for the rest of the evening I hosted like nothing was wrong. I made small talk with Diane about property values, laughed at Richard's tired stock market jokes, and served brisket like it was any other spring dinner. But inside, something was dying. Or maybe something was waking up. I kept looking at Sophia across the table, wondering how I ever missed it, the cold in her smile, the way her eyes danced when someone complimented the house, like she owned it alone. I watched her move through the evening like a woman rehearsing a part she'd already written the ending for. And maybe she thought I'd never find out. Maybe she thought I was too simple, too slow to notice. But now I knew, and there's a quiet kind of rage that builds when you pretend everything's fine while your world is collapsing in secret. I played my part that night, but something inside me was already rewriting the script. That dinner was a blur. I poured wine, carved the brisket, laughed at Richard's tired jokes, all while stealing glances at Sophia across the table, watching her smile like everything was perfect, like she hadn't just plotted to blow up my life, and maybe she'd been doing it all along. I started to wonder if I'd just missed the signs. Had she always looked at me with that quiet contempt? Had that soft smile always had edges? Her sister, Emma, the only one in that whole family who didn't act like I was chewing with my mouth open at the dinner table, kept glancing my way. It wasn't rude. It was concerned, like she was trying to figure out if I knew something. I think part of her suspected something was off. Maybe she already knew. After everyone left, Sophia kissed my cheek, told me I was a great host, and went to bed humming. I stood in the kitchen, staring at the wine-stained glasses and crusted serving spoons, trying not to gag. The way she just floated off humming, after laughing about taking half my life, I couldn't wrap my head around it. I stayed up. When she was asleep, I opened her laptop. It was password protected, which was new. I guessed it on the third try, our old cat's name. And there it was. Emails to a law firm dated 3 months back, mapping everything out. She'd been building this plan while still smiling at me across the table, while still calling me babe and bringing home takeout. The emails broke it down by bullet points. Leverage my income to secure a partnership. File for divorce. Claim half the business based on marital growth. Spreadsheets with account balances. A divorce timeline with color-coded tasks. She'd already siphoned $20,000 0 cents from our joint account into a private one, always under the amount that would alert our bank. And then came the messages, a thread labeled Leal, Lucas, her upgrade. Their texts went back 6 months, flirty, private, full of little miss you and soon. My stomach twisted reading how casually she said she loved him, how she mocked me, said I was too dumb to see it coming. I didn't sleep that night. Monday morning I called in sick for the first time in years and met with a divorce attorney named Mike. I explained everything. He was calm, blunt. In this state, he said, if the business grew during the marriage, she can claim part of its value even if she never lifted a finger. He listed potential numbers. I felt lightheaded. That night, she brought home soup, touched my forehead, and asked if I had a fever. I told her I was just tired. She said she loved me, in that voice people use when they say something they don't mean but want credit for saying it anyway. I started watching her closer. The secret phone checks, closing her laptop the second I walked in, whispered calls behind locked doors. She was slipping, and I was finally seeing it. Tuesday, I met my accountant Greg at a little coffee shop across town. He told me Sophia had recently asked him to prepare business valuation documents, claiming it was for a potential investor. He showed me the paperwork she requested, carefully edited to make my finances look loose and unprofessional. Not illegal, but just messy enough to drag things out in court. We spent hours cleaning up the books, squaring off loans, and gathering documents to prove she'd never contributed to the business. Not a dime, not a contract, not a meeting. Then I got a text from Emma. She wanted to meet Saturday. She said it was important. That afternoon, I went to the bank and confirmed something else. Sophia had applied for a $200,000 0 cents line of credit against our house, mostly in my name since I'd paid the down payment. I shut it down immediately. I moved my portion of our savings, every cent I'd earned, into a separate account. That night, I crossed a line I'd never thought I'd cross. I installed small audio recorders in our living room and bedroom, legal in our state, shady yes, but necessary. I also hid a camera near her desk. Over dinner, her phone lit up. Lucas. I saw the name clear as day. I asked casually, "Who's that?" She didn't flinch, said it was a client. Later I heard her whispering into the phone from our bedroom. Door cracked just enough. "He doesn't suspect anything, be patient." "I miss you." Rage burned in my chest. But I didn't move. In construction, you don't rush demolition. You calculate every beam, every bolt. You wait. Revenge works the same way. Wednesday, I printed blank divorce forms and left them on my nightstand, like I forgot them there. She saw them. I know she did. She didn't mention it, just acted extra sweet all night. That morning I made a few calls and found out Lucas was Nathan's friend from college. Rich kid, family money. He'd been at family events I missed while working ski trips. Cruises, they had history. This wasn't random. It was planned. Every day she grew her career on my back. She was also growing this exit strategy. That night, she initiated sex for the first time in weeks. I went along, emotionally numb, like shaking hands at a funeral. Thursday, Emma and I met for coffee. She was nervous, looked tired, and then she just blurted it all out. She'd seen Sophia and Lucas together at their parents' lake house months ago. Sophia told her it was just a fling. Later, Emma found out about the full plan. Stay with me until her firm made her partner, then file, take half, and vanish. Emma looked ashamed, said she hated the way their family treated me, said I deserved better. I thanked her, but kept my cards close. That night, I staged a fake business emergency. I told Sophia I needed to host an emergency family dinner to help save face with some contacts. She hesitated, looked nervous, but agreed. I leaned into the lie, played the desperate husband role. She bought it. Guilt is a powerful motivator. At least, and I was finally ready to use it. Friday came and I prepped like I was heading into battle. Not with fists, but with facts. I packed everything, screenshots, bank statements, recordings, and timelines into a black folder I tucked beside my seat at the dining table. I loaded backup copies onto a tablet, double-checked every file, then printed hard copies just in case. I even picked up Sophia's favorite dessert from the bakery downtown, that lemon tart she used to eat in law school when she had a tough day. I set the table, lit the candles she loved, chilled the wine. The whole night was dressed like an apology I never owed. At home, Sophia was nervous, smiling too wide, checking her phone every 2 minutes, jumping at little sounds. The doorbell rang, and her family poured in, Richard shaking my hand with that fake squeeze he gives when he's already decided you're beneath him, Diane air-kissing like we were on camera, Nathan glued to his phone, and Emma, who walked in last and avoided my eyes. Each has started out polite, plastic. Sophia sat close, touching my arm like we were the golden couple. Then her phone buzzed on the table, and there it was, Lucas. She scrambled to silence it, glancing at me. I didn't flinch. That was the last drop. I stood up, raised my glass, and said, "To family, loyalty, and seeing things clearly." Confusion spread around the table like a slow leak. I smiled, sat down, and said, "About that business emergency I mentioned. Turns out, it's not about my company, it's about my marriage." Silence fell so fast it felt like the walls were holding their breath. Sophia's hand froze mid-reach for her wine. I tapped the tablet, connected it to the TV, and hit play. The recording started. Sophia and Nathan outside by the azaleas, laughing, plotting. Nathan calling me a loser. Sophia saying she'd take half the business. The room went pale. Diane covered her mouth. Richard stared, jaw tight, arms crossed. Emma closed her eyes, visibly sinking into her chair. Sophia didn't say a word. Her face turned to stone. I kept going. Next came screenshots of Lucas's texts, months of flirty, intimate messages. I turned to Sophia. "You've been with him while I worked 60-hour weeks and paid off your law school. This was the plan the whole time, wasn't it?" Then to her parents. "Did you know she was cheating, or just about the divorce?" Richard started to say something, but I cut him off. "Let me show you where your investment went." I pulled up the spreadsheet. $143,600, 0 cents. Every dollar I'd spent on her tuition, rent, textbooks, bar prep courses, clothes, even Ubers to job interviews. Then came proof of her secret account and the canceled $200, 0 cents K-home equity loan. This is what she did while I built a life for us. Chaos erupted. Richard stood up so fast he knocked over his chair. "We're leaving," he barked. Sophia reached for my arm. "James, wait, I can explain." Nathan slid his phone under the table, trying to delete texts. I pointed at him. "I already have those. Cloud backups." His wife looked like she'd just been punched in the chest. Sophia started crying. "I was unhappy. I was confused. It wasn't supposed to—" I stopped her. "You were unhappy while I skipped vacations, skipped sleep, skipped everything so you could succeed." Richard stepped forward, red-faced. "You'll be hearing from our attorneys. We have resources." I laughed. "You mean the 20 grand she stole? Or the loan she almost got approved in both our names? Or Lucas?" I paused. "Did you know he's married? I met his wife, Rachel, yesterday. She knows everything." And then it all broke. Richard slammed his fist on my dining table, the one I built with my own hands. The plates shook. Food flew. Wine spilled across the wood like blood in a crime scene. Sophia screamed. Diane gasped. Nathan backed away. I stood there, calm as stone, watching 7 years crack apart in seconds. Emma grabbed napkins, helping clean, her eyes meeting mine with something close to respect. Then Richard lost it. He lunged across the table, yelling, "You're nothing, you're dirt, you work with your hands, you're not one of us." Nathan had to pull him back. I looked Richard square in the face. "I built something real. I created something from nothing. What have you built? A family of liars?" I walked to the front door and opened it wide. "You can all leave now." One by one, they filed out, storming, stumbling, stammering. Emma lingered by the door. She looked at Sophia, then at me, and whispered, "You deserved better." The door closed behind her. Sophia stood frozen in the kitchen. "Where will you go?" she asked, quietly, voice trembling. I grabbed my go bag from under the hallway bench. "I've got a hotel," I said. "I'll file Monday." She stared at me. "You planned all this?" I looked at her for the last time. I learned from the best. And I walked out into the cool night, finally free. That night, for the first time in what felt like years, I slept soundly in a hotel bed, with clean sheets, no noise, no pretending. I didn't dream, I just rested. Saturday morning I drove back to the house not to beg or fight, but to pack. I moved through each room like I was closing chapters. I gathered my clothes, my tools, my framed photos from college and our wedding, the ones that still mattered to me. And my dog's things. He watched me with calm eyes, no confusion. Animals know. they feel when a place stops being safe. I loaded everything into the truck, left the house key on the counter, and walked out without looking back. I'd already rented an apartment not far from my workshop, nothing fancy but mine, quiet, clean, mine. For the next 2 days I ignored my phone. I unpacked, bought groceries, took my dog to the park, and finally cleaned out the toolbox I hadn't touched in months. I gave myself space to just be. On Sunday I checked my phone. 47 messages from Sophia. The first ones were rage-filled, all caps, demands, calling me names, accusing me of betrayal. Then it shifted. She wanted to talk. We can work this out. She said she'd cut off her family, go to therapy, change. She even offered to walk away with nothing, but then came the last 2 messages sent around 3:14 a.m. The first said she'd confessed everything to Lucas, hoping they could finally be together. He dumped her on the spot, said he was staying with his wife. The final message read, "I have nobody, take the house, the money, just don't leave me like this." I stared at it for a long time, waiting to feel something. I didn't. No joy, no triumph, just silence, just the final click of a door closing. I replied with 10 words. "Divorce papers are at your office, I want this over." I didn't respond again. She tried calling. I blocked the number. My lawyer Mike reached out that afternoon. Rachel, Lucas's wife, wanted to speak. She'd discovered Lucas had been running a pattern, stringing along other women, even borrowing money from one. She wasn't looking for revenge, just truth. So we met. Not as victims, not as 2 people looking for something, just as strangers bound by shared pain. We talked for an hour over coffee. No bitterness, no drama, just clarity. After that, I felt lighter. Emma texted me the next morning. Sophia had moved back in with her parents. Richard was furious, throwing blame in every direction. Deanne was spiraling, wondering where she went wrong with her perfect daughter. Emma said she'd quit the grad program her parents pushed on her. Said watching me stand up for myself gave her the courage. I didn't know what to say to that, just told her thank you. That evening, I took my dog out to a hiking trail near the apartment. The air was cool, the trees rustling gently. My dog's tail wagged like it always did when he sensed something good. I walked with no destination in mind. Just breathing, step by step. 7 years of my life were behind me, some good, some fake, some heavy, but all of it done. And ahead of me, freedom. Not just from Sophia, but from being someone I wasn't allowed to be. No more playing the steady provider while being chipped away behind closed doors. No more sacrificing dreams for someone who saw me as a stepping stone. Rachel texted me a link to a divorce support group that night. I opened it. Read the first few posts. Turns out betrayal like this isn't rare. Turns out surviving it doesn't mean you have to stay broken. I saved the link and put my phone away. My dog barked once, nudged his bowl. I smiled. I made dinner, simple stuff. Ate by the window, unpacked another box, organized my workshop plans, nothing major, just the basics. But that's how every construction job starts, with a clean lot, with cleared ground. You pour the foundation before you ever build the frame. And this time, I'm pouring it solid. I'm building it for me. No hidden cracks, no hollow beams, just something strong, something that can't be torn apart again. If there's one thing I've learned from all this, it's that loyalty means nothing without honesty, and love without respect isn't love at all. Sometimes walking away isn't giving up, it's finally choosing yourself. If this story hit home, take a second to check out the next video on the channel. There's always more to learn from the lives we've lived, and if you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe, drop a comment, and let me know you're here. You're not alone.